Welcome, and thank you for being here. Whether you are listening from your bed, resting on a couch, or simply taking a quiet moment for yourself, you are invited to slow down and relax as we gently travel back in time together. If you feel like it, you can leave a comment sharing where you are listening from tonight, as it's always comforting to know this story is being heard in many quiet places around the world. And if you enjoy calm, peaceful history like this, you are welcome to subscribe and return for future journeys through the past. Tonight, there is nothing you need to learn, remember, or follow closely. This is not a lesson, and it is not a test. This is simply a gentle walk through the world of ancient Greece. Told slowly and calmly, allowing your thoughts to drift as easily as the evening air, imagine yourself standing on a hillside as the day comes to an end. The sun is low in the sky, casting warm, golden light across a landscape shaped by mountains, valleys, and the distant sea. Below you lies a small ancient Greek city, built from pale stone and clay, its rooftops glowing softly in the fading light. The heat of the day has begun to fade, replaced by a gentle breeze that moves quietly through olive trees and tall grasses, carrying with it the faint scent of earth and salt from the sea. Ancient Greece is a land deeply connected to nature, and life here follows the steady rhythm of daylight and darkness. As evening approaches, people naturally slow their movements, guided not by clocks, but by the changing sky. You begin to walk down the worn stone path toward the city, your footsteps unhurried, the ground beneath you smoothed by generations who have walked this same route before. The city welcomes the night without resistance. Narrow streets, designed to offer shade during the bright hours of the day, now hold the warmth of the sun and release it slowly into the cooling air. Oil lamps begin to glow softly outside homes and workshops, their light flickering gently against whitewashed walls. The atmosphere is calm, familiar, and deeply human, shaped by routines that have remained unchanged for centuries. As you pass through the streets, you notice artisans finishing their work for the day. A potter cleans his hands and covers his wheel, knowing it will wait patiently for him until morning. A metalworker carefully sets aside his tools, wiping them clean before leaving his workshop behind. Voices are quiet and relaxed, filled with the ease of people who know they will return to the same place tomorrow. This is not a city of urgency or constant motion. Life in ancient Greece moves at a measured pace, shaped by the seasons, the land, and the shared understanding that rest is as important as work. Families gather inside their homes as darkness settles fully, preparing simple evening meals made from ingredients familiar and comforting. Bread baked earlier in the day, olives preserved with care, soft cheeses, lentils, and herbs form meals that nourish without excess. Inside one home, a family sits together by the light of a single oil lamp. Shadows stretch across the walls as they eat slowly, speaking quietly about the day that has passed. Children grow tired, their heads leaning gently against a parent's shoulder as sleep begins to claim them. There is no rush to finish, no distractions pulling attention away. Evening is a time for stillness, reflection, and connection. Outside, the city continues to settle into silence. You make your way toward the agora, the open gathering place that serves as the heart of the city. During the day, it would have been filled with merchants, travelers, philosophers, and citizens exchanging goods, ideas, and stories. Now, it is nearly empty, its wide stone ground echoing softly beneath your footsteps. Tall columns stand quietly around you, steady and unmoving, as if guarding the many conversations and debates they have witnessed over the years. Ancient Greece is often remembered for its thinkers and philosophers, people who spent their lives asking questions about the nature of happiness, wisdom, and the good life. These ideas were not always discussed in grand speeches or formal settings, but often through calm conversation, thoughtful pauses, and quiet observation of the world. As you walk through the agora, you do not need to hold on to any of these ideas. You can simply let the thought of them exist in the background, like a distant echo that fades as quickly as it appears. From the agora, your path leads you toward a small temple at the edge of the city. Its stone columns rise gracefully into the night, illuminated by moonlight and the faint glow of nearby lamps. In ancient Greece, temples were places of respect and reflection, spaces where people felt connected to forces greater than themselves. Tonight, the temple is peaceful and still. A simple offering rests near the entrance. Left quietly earlier in the evening, you sit for a moment on the cool stone steps, looking upward at the sky. Without the interference of artificial lights, the stars shine brightly, scattered across the darkness in patterns that ancient people studied, named, and wove into stories. The Greeks believed the night itself was guided by Nyx, the goddess of night, who moved silently across the sky, bringing rest and calm to the world below. Whether seen as myth or metaphor, the idea of night as a protective presence feels comforting here. As you rise and begin to walk again, the city is nearly asleep. Most lamps have been extinguished, and only a few soft lights remain, glowing faintly in the distance. The air has cooled further, and the stones beneath your feet hold only a trace of the day's warmth. Somewhere nearby, the sound of the sea continues its steady rhythm, timeless and soothing. Leaving the city behind, you return to the open land beyond the walls, passing once more through olive trees and quiet paths. The moon hangs low above you, casting a gentle silver light across the landscape. Your thoughts can slow now, no longer attached to images or ideas, free to drift wherever they choose. Ancient Greece rests, calm and unchanging in the quiet of the night, and you are free to rest as well, allowing the story to fade softly as sleep comes naturally and without effort, as the night deepens. The world of ancient Greece grows quieter still, and the land seems to breathe more slowly beneath the soft light of the moon. The hills and valleys surrounding the city are no longer shapes to be studied, but gentle silhouettes resting under the stars. In the distance, the sea reflects faint silver light, its surface calm and steady, as it has been for countless generations. The people of ancient Greece lived with an awareness of the natural world that shaped their daily lives. The seasons guided their work, their celebrations, and their rest. Summer brought long days beneath the sun, while winter encouraged indoor gatherings and quiet evenings. Night, however, belonged to everyone equally. Offering a shared moment of stillness after the efforts of the day, you imagine walking along a dirt path that leads away from the city toward small farms scattered across the countryside. These farms are modest, surrounded by low stone walls and rows of olive trees that have stood for decades, sometimes centuries. The olive tree holds special meaning here, valued not only for its fruit and oil, but also as a symbol of endurance and peace. Even in the dark, the trees seem calm and patient, their branches unmoving and less stirred by the softest breeze. Inside a farmhouse, a single lamp burns low as its inhabitants prepare for sleep. Tools used during the day rest neatly against the wall, and baskets once filled with produce now sit empty, waiting to be used again at dawn. The simplicity of life here brings a sense of quiet satisfaction, a feeling that each day has been lived fully, without excess or hurry. As you continue your gentle walk, your thoughts drift toward the ways knowledge was passed down in ancient Greece. Stories, ideas, and traditions were shared not through books as we know them today, but through conversation, memory, and careful listening. Elders spoke to younger generations beneath open skies or beside warm hearths, passing along lessons shaped by experience rather than instruction. These moments of storytelling were unhurried, designed to be remembered not by force, but by feeling. In many homes, evenings were a time for reflection, when the noise of the day faded and the mind was free to wander. Some people found comfort in myths, stories of gods and heroes that explained the mysteries of the world in human terms. Others found peace in observation, watching the stars move slowly across the sky or listening to the distant sounds of nature settling into rest. One such story tells of Hypnos, the personification of sleep, who lived in a quiet cave far from the noise of the world. It was said that even the gods respected his power, knowing that rest was essential to all beings, mortal or divine. In this story, sleep is not something to be chased or forced, but something that arrives gently when the time is right, wrapping the mind in calm and stillness. As the night continues, the city behind you is fully asleep. Streets once walked by hundreds of people now lie empty, their stones cool and undisturbed. The agora rests in silence, its columns standing as they have for generations, untouched by the passing hours. Temples remain watchful and serene, their presence a reminder of the beliefs that shape this world, yet never demanding attention. In the quiet of the night, you find a comfortable place to sit, perhaps on a smooth stone overlooking the land below. From here, the entire scene feels distant and peaceful, as if viewed through a gentle haze. There is no need to analyze or understand anything you see. The simple act of being present is enough. Ancient Greek philosophers often spoke of balance, of finding harmony between effort and rest, action and stillness. While their ideas shaped centuries of thought, tonight you are not asked to consider them deeply. Instead, you can simply enjoy the sense of balance that night naturally brings. As the world pauses and the mind follows, the stars above continue their slow journey across the sky, patterns shifting almost imperceptibly. To the people of ancient Greece, these movements held meaning and beauty, serving as guides for travelers and markers of time. Yet even without understanding their names or stories, the sight of the stars offers comfort, a reminder of continuity and calm. As the hours pass, the night grows cooler, and the breeze becomes softer, barely noticeable against your skin. Sounds fade further into the background, until only the most distant rhythms remain. The sea continues its gentle motion, waves rising and falling in a steady pattern that mirrors the slowing pace of your breath. Your thoughts begin to loosen their grip, drifting from one image to another without settling anywhere for long. The land of ancient Greece becomes less defined, its shapes blending softly into one another, like a memory already beginning to fade. This is not something to resist, but something to welcome. The night does not ask for attention or effort. It simply exists, offering rest to anyone willing to accept it. Ancient Greece, with all its stories, ideas, and history, now feels far away, reduced to a quiet presence that surrounds you without demand. As you remain here, listening and resting, you are free to let go of any remaining tension. There is nothing left to imagine, nothing left to follow. The world is calm, the night is deep, and sleep can arrive naturally, carrying you gently away from thought and into quiet rest. As time passes, the sense of movement fades almost completely, and the world of ancient Greece settles into a deep, unbroken stillness. Night here is not empty or lonely, but full in a quiet, comforting way, as though the land itself is resting after a long and meaningful day. The hills, fields, and distant coastline remain unchanged, held gently beneath the stars. Far from the city, you imagine the countryside stretching outward, dotted with small villages and isolated homes. These places are simple, built for function rather than display, yet they hold a warmth that comes from familiarity and routine. Generations have lived, worked, and rested in these same spaces, passing down knowledge through shared experience rather than written words. Life moves forward slowly here, measured by harvests, weather, and the rising and setting of the sun. In one such village, a few lamps still glow faintly, their light barely visible through narrow windows. Inside, people prepare for sleep, laying down woven blankets and simple bedding. The day's concerns have been set aside, replaced by the quiet comfort of rest. Outside, animals settle into their own rhythms, guided by instinct and habit, contributing to the gentle background sounds of the night. Ancient Greece was a place where community mattered deeply. People relied on one another, not just for survival, but for meaning and belonging. Even now, in the silence of night, that sense of connection lingers in the air. The land feels lived in, shaped not by grand gestures, but by countless small moments repeated over time. As you remain still, your thoughts drift toward the role of storytelling in this ancient world. Without written records as we know them today, stories were living things, carried in voices and memories. They changed subtly with each telling, adapting to the listener and the moment. These stories were not always dramatic or heroic. Many were simple, offering comfort, explanation, or a sense of place within the world. Some stories spoke of the origins of the earth and sky, while others focused on everyday experiences, framed through myth and symbolism. They helped people understand the cycles of life, the unpredictability of nature, and the importance of patience and humility. Listening to these stories by lamplight or beneath the stars would have been a calming experience, drawing people together in shared stillness. The night sky above ancient Greece continues to shift slowly, almost imperceptibly. Constellations rise and fall, marking the passage of hours without urgency. For ancient travelers and sailors, these stars served as guides, yet for most people, they were simply a familiar presence, always there, always watching over the land. You imagine lying back now, gazing upward, letting the shapes in the sky blur softly as your eyes grow heavy. There is no need to focus on any single star or pattern. The vastness above you is comforting, reminding you that time moves steadily forward, regardless of individual concerns. In the distance, the sea remains calm, its surface dark and reflective. Ships that once crossed its waters are now at rest, secured along quiet shores. Trade, travel, and exploration will resume with the coming day, but for now, the sea belongs to the night, moving slowly and without purpose. Ancient Greek thinkers often spoke of nature as something to observe and respect rather than control. They understood that human life was small compared to the vastness of the world, yet still meaningful within it. This perspective encouraged acceptance, a willingness to move with the flow of life rather than against it. Tonight, that same sense of acceptance can guide your thoughts, allowing them to drift freely without resistance. As the night deepens further, even the faintest sounds begin to fade. The land seems to hold its breath, suspended in a moment of perfect stillness. Your awareness softens, no longer fixed on images or ideas, but gently floating between them. Ancient Greece, once filled with movement, conversation, and activity, now exists only as a quiet backdrop. Its streets, temples, fields, and seas remain, but they no longer demand attention. They simply are, resting beneath the stars as they have done for centuries. With each passing moment, the boundary between thought and rest becomes thinner. The story grows softer, less defined, like a distant memory or a half-remembered dream. You are free to let go completely, allowing sleep to arrive without effort, guided by the calm presence of the night. The night continues to unfold quietly, and the world of ancient Greece feels increasingly distant, as though it exists just beyond the edge of waking thought. The land remains unchanged, yet your awareness of it grows softer, less defined, allowing the details to blur naturally. This is a time when nothing needs to be observed closely, and nothing asks for your attention. Somewhere beyond the hills, the first hint of dawn is still many hours away. For now, the darkness is complete and unbroken, offering a sense of safety and calm. In this world, night is not feared or resisted, but welcomed as a necessary pause, a gentle space between one day and the next. In ancient homes, sleep comes easily after a day shaped by physical work and steady routines. Bodies rest naturally, and minds quiet themselves without effort. There are no glowing screens, no constant noise, only the soft awareness of breath and the distant sounds of nature. This simplicity creates a deep sense of ease, one that settles into the bones and lingers long after sleep has begun. You imagine the quiet presence of guardians of the night, not as figures to be watched or feared, but as symbols of calm and protection. In Greek thought, the night itself was often personified as a gentle force, moving silently across the sky, bringing rest wherever it passed. This idea alone is enough to create comfort. A feeling that the darkness exists to support rest rather than interrupt it. As time passes, the stars begin their slow shift, though the change is almost impossible to notice. The sky feels vast and endless, a steady backdrop to the small, quiet lives unfolding beneath it. Even the most powerful cities of ancient Greece, once alive with voices and ambition, now lie completely still, their presence softened by the night, you might imagine Athens resting beneath the moon, its temples and stone buildings cooled by the evening air. The Acropolis stands silently above the city, not as a monument to achievement, but as part of the landscape, no more demanding attention than the hills and valleys around it. In the darkness, everything feels equal, balanced, and calm. Further away, other cities rest in the same way. Sparta, Corinth, Thebes, and countless smaller towns all share this quiet moment, connected not by roads or trade, but by the shared experience of night. Though these places differ in culture and character, they are united now by stillness. The sea, too, remains calm, its endless motion slowed by the darkness. Sailors sleep aboard their ships or in nearby homes, trusting the water to remain peaceful until morning. The horizon is barely visible, blending seamlessly into the sky, erasing any clear boundary between earth and air. As your thoughts continue to slow, even these images begin to soften. Cities fade into shapes, shapes fade into shadows, and shadows dissolve into a sense of calm presence rather than clear form. This gentle loss of detail is not something to resist. It is a sign that rest is approaching naturally. Ancient Greece no longer feels like a place you are visiting, but like a quiet atmosphere surrounding you. Its history, its stories, and its people are no longer separate ideas, but part of a steady, soothing background that requires nothing from you. Your breathing becomes slower, deeper, and more regular, guided by the calm rhythm of the night. Each breath feels unimportant and effortless, rising and falling without thought. There is no need to guide it or change it. The body knows how to rest. In this stillness, time itself seems to lose meaning. Minutes and hours pass without notice, blending together into a continuous sense of calm. The night does not hurry, and neither do you. As ancient Greece remains wrapped in darkness, quiet and undisturbed, you are free to drift further away from thought, allowing the story to fade gently, carrying you deeper into rest, where no images or words are needed anymore. The quiet of the night remains undisturbed, stretching calmly across the land of ancient Greece as though time itself has slowed to match the stillness. There is no change that needs to be noticed, no moment that stands apart from the rest. Everything simply continues, steady and peaceful, as it has countless times before. The earth beneath the olive trees rests, holding the memory of the day's warmth deep within the soil. Fields lie silent, waiting patiently for the return of morning light, though there is no urgency for it to arrive. In this moment, night is complete and sufficient on its own. Across the countryside, scattered villages remain dark and quiet. The people who live there sleep deeply, their lives shaped by simple routines that encourage rest without effort. Their days are filled with movement, work, and shared tasks, and their nights offer natural recovery, guided by the rhythm of the world around them. In the cities, stone streets lie empty and cool, their surfaces untouched by footsteps. Public spaces once filled with discussion and debate are now silent, holding only the faint echo of voices long since gone. The structures of ancient Greece, built with care and intention, feel softened by the darkness, their edges blurred into gentle shapes that no longer demand attention. The temples stand quietly, not as places of ceremony or thought, but as peaceful forms resting beneath the stars. They do not call out to be noticed or understood. They simply exist, sharing the same stillness as the hills, the sea, and the sky. The myths and stories once told in these places fade into the background, no longer forming clear narratives. The names of gods and heroes become distant, unimportant, dissolving into a general sense of calm presence rather than distinct figures. This quiet blending of thought is natural, allowing the mind to release its hold on detail. Above it all, the night sky remains constant. The stars continue their slow, patient movement, marking time in a way that feels gentle rather than exact. Their light reaches the land softly, offering comfort without instruction. As the hours pass, even the idea of ancient Greece begins to feel less defined. It is no longer a collection of places, people, or stories, but but simply a calm setting that surrounds you without effort. The history that once seemed distant and complex now rests quietly, free of dates, names, or events. Your awareness drifts further inward, no longer anchored to imagery or sound. The steady rhythm of rest takes over naturally, carrying you deeper into a state where thought becomes optional and unnecessary. There is nothing left to follow, nothing left to imagine, and nothing left to do. The night holds everything gently in place, allowing the world, and you, to remain exactly as you are. Ancient Greece continues to rest beneath the stars, unchanged and undisturbed, and as the story fades further into silence, you are free to drift fully into sleep, supported by the calm presence of the night and the quiet passage of time. Ancient Greece continues to rest beneath the stars, unchanged and undisturbed. And as the story fades further into silence, you are free to drift fully into sleep, supported by the calm presence of the night and the quiet passage of time. If you'd like, leave a comment sharing where you're listening from tonight. It's always comforting to know this story is being heard in quiet places all over the world.